Hi, I'm Ufaq and I use Verve as my buyer's agency. Well, my wife and I had been casually looking for about a year, and then we started doing home opens a couple of months before we met Rowan and at Verve. But we're doctors and we're very time poor. It was difficult to kind of align our schedules with the times of home opens, and it was quite a frustrating process. We weren't experienced in the market. We're not from Perth, but it was also our first house purchase. So all of those things meant that, we were probably quite naive and we may not have made a good choice had we not been guided. So, we eventually changed tack. I didn't really know what to expect, so we obviously went in with a certain brief, I suppose, of what we were looking for in a home, and from the first minute Rowan was intent on trying to match that. We were quite impressed with his planning of how he chooses properties and aligns them to clients, and obviously he's got a very personal method that he uses, and that sort of struck us straight away when we were in the meeting. And even though we felt we had quite, I suppose, unrealistic expectations of a home, because my wife and I are quite different in what we want, we sort of felt quite confident he might have a chance of matching that. The big thing that probably people feel in hindsight after they buy a house is that they did it all on gut feel in 20 minutes, and then maybe later on they find 10, 15, 20 things with the home when they move in that they wish they'd known about when they viewed. But after meeting Rowan and seeing what his methods were and how he chooses properties before he even brings them to a client, I felt that all of that due diligence was done. So we could just use our gut feel and know that the rest of it was already in place. So, and that was very obvious from the meeting. He phoned me 2-3 days after we'd had our initial meeting to say he'd had something, and we got in this house, and within 2 or 3 minutes we saw exactly how our expectations were completely met. To go into detail, my wife wanted a heritage property with those old style features, and I was looking for something more modern, and the home we were shown matched those things perfectly. What impressed us was that he really wanted to know us and what we were after and what we were about and what our future meant to us, so that he could match that vision. It wasn't just, we want a home with this many bedrooms. It was really personalised, and I felt that from the very beginning. My wife did as well. And then that showed itself when he presented his first property, and it was instantly the right one. So I couldn't give any better feedback than to say that he nailed it on the first try. Probably the first thing people might see when they research this is that there's a cost attached to it, and they might wonder whether that's worth it. But I think in a market like Perth and WA in general, where prices are escalating week on week, month on month, you're quickly going to see that represents a significant saving, given the time it takes some people to find their home. So for us, it was a no-brainer from the moment we walked in the office and realised what the buyer's agency was about and what they were seeking to achieve with us, and that proved itself very, very quickly. So I absolutely would recommend Verve, Rowan and the team, particularly if you don't have time to look at 10, 15, 20 homes and build up your frustration levels.